Fazal and Jaren's podcast, the podcast that talks about Doctor Who and Star Wars, hosted by Lee Croddock. Welcome and hope you enjoy listening to this episode. Welcome back to Fazal and Jaren's with me, your host Lee. This episode is going to be very different. It's a bit more solemn because Lee has been thinking about new ways to improve the channel and make it a little bit different. So I thought it's time for a tribute to one of my personal favourite characters of all time. And I think it is definitely relevant, especially with the year anniversary. I wanted to pay tribute to the 13th Doctor. As you know, I have loved her era and I know she needs a bit more love, so this is what the tribute will be about, giving her a bit more appreciation, and there will be more of these kind of episodes coming soon. There will be some surprises, but also stay tuned for all these tributes coming out. I will keep you up to date on social media. So let's begin the tribute. I have loved 13 since her first appearance when she says, "Oh, brilliant." And she's always stepped up. She has been what I like to call misconsistent. Her happiness and her kindness is what makes her stand out. For example, when she welcomes the fam aboard TARDIS, she says, "Welcome aboard," properly. It feels ethereal and beautiful, and it's my kind of kindness. And to see that in the form of the Doctor, it's beautiful. I feel the biggest strength she has is the fact that I see myself in her and I relate to her a lot, and it's a big thing. Her social status, where she's having to deal with her social awkwardness, and then of course her constant need to info dump, and her love for historical figures. It felt right to how she was characterised, and I still feel it now. And that's the beauty of how famous win. She will obviously relate to certain communities, and that's what makes her so unique. Her emotional impact is one of the things that I have credited throughout her tenure. When she gets emotional, I feel her emotions, and I'm there with her. And she is definitely one of those characters right now that makes it real. When she talks to Yaz after the Sea Devils instance, something just emotes for me when she says, "Can we just focus on the present with what we have whilst we still have it?" It just is one of those lines that has a big impact. And I remember at the time I was emotional most of the times when I listened to that track. It meant a lot to me as a fan. Speaking of the scene, Lee wants to stick around and talk about Phasmin. Yes, Phasmin time. The ship has been a grower for me, and it gets it right at the right time. Something about these girls is their likability, and it allows me to support the girls. There are so many unique LGBTQ plus romances out there that stand out. For example, I've said this before, Nigel and Isaac from Ghosts. Who else? I'm trying to think quickly. Who else stands out? I'm trying to think. It's hard. There's just quite a few LGBTQ plus romances, and for me to try and understand the community, it takes a lot of guts to do these kind of stuff, but when they do it, it's beautiful. And that's why I'm glad that Phasmin is probably the first LGBTQ plus romance for the Doctor. And you know, I'd rather they had this now than later, because you don't know when they're going to get the chance. And what wins for them is their chemistry is always there, especially when they first meet, and their struggles mentally come across physically and make the relationship work. Once again, sticking with relationships. This time with love. The fam is why I love this era. 13 treats them as family, and she's learning from the past to try and protect them. For example, the Cybermen incident. Yeah. She promises to get them home after their stuff and desolation, and she does. Every single one of her friends returns home safe and sound. She helps their friends change along the way and gives them, like, the thing they need to move on when they leave, and that's very important. And it makes me support them and respect the appreciation 13 has for her fam. 13 has left out a legacy. Din Grogu is carrying on for her and Yasmin Khan. Yes, I just can't stop saying how much Din Grogu is similar to 13. It's just something unique. Speaking with legacies, it means a lot to me as this has influenced a variety of characters like Din Djarin, Tech, R.I.P., Bo-Katan Kryze, and Ahsoka Tano. They all come from hardships and later find their calling. I had been comparing since Tech's moment back in February 23 in The Crossing, where I learned why he acts the way he did, and that just gives me Doctor Who goosebumps. I just love that. I want to talk about my favourite scenes. I have a few, but we'll share 3 with you right now because I have a lot, but I don't want to talk about all of them. I just want to make sure I get enough to. My first pick is definitely the final scene in The Vanquishers. The emotions, the determination, and the fight to come out to Yaz about her past and then hide her from Butch for her own good is probably one of the best pieces of television I've ever seen. Everything comes across to me. It makes me enjoy it, and I just love seeing a vulnerable and emotional 13. It's just so beautiful. The beach scene has made me emotional on a number of occasions, as I previously have said. Once again, allows me to feel for her as she knows she and Yaz can't be together, and the fact that it comes at a relevant time makes it even more impactful, because by the time this happens there's only 1 episode left, so it does make that impact that it needs. My final pick is the last scene with Yaz, as it's so beautiful, but it's an emotional masterclass. I just feel so sad, and it really upsets 13 when she knows she has to change. It's beautiful to see her take Yaz on the last trip and explain the harsh realities of saying goodbye and being grateful to her friends for what they've done to her. I want to finish by sharing a few quotes that I love. So let's get started. I carry them with me, what they thought, what they would have said, because even though they're gone from the world, they're never gone from me. I was looking for information about me, about my life I never knew. I want to tell you everything. Yaz, I can't fix myself to anything, anywhere, anyone. I've never been able to. It's what my life is. A wise person once said to me, goodbyes only hurt because what came before was so special. Oh, and it's been so special. You and Graham and Ryan and Dan, nobody else got to be us. Nobody else got to live our days. Nobody. And my hearts are so full of love of all of you. Oh, I've loved being with you, yes. I've loved being me. I think I need to do this next bit alone. So those are, of course, some of my favourite quotes. Like with the scenes, there's just so much to say, but I don't want to overdo it. I want to finish off by saying that, I know I said, I want to finish off by saying that Jodie Whittaker does a really great job with what she's done, and there's some really stand-up moments. For example, I mean, when the Doctor sheds a tear, it's just so beautiful. When she's dressed up in the tuxedo, she looks dashing and awesome, and oh my, and then yeah, her friendships with people, I just love that. it's just so, as you would say, oh, brilliant. The next episode coming up, obviously there's been a bit of a clash, especially with the air dates not being announced, so it's made it a bit difficult. But what I'm going to do is the next episode will be Classic Who related, so I'm going to talk about a favourite episode from each of the first 7 incarnations, and then hopefully after that episode I should know what the schedule will be. But please stay tuned on my social media at Fast122 so you can keep up to date and know what's happening. Thank you for listening to my tribute to the 13th Doctor. I love Jodie as the Doctor, and I just wanted to give some positivity. I will be doing more of the tributes as soon as I can, so please stay tuned. If you love the podcast, like and subscribe to this channel and hit that notification button so you can be up to date with all the latest episodes. Once again, keep in touch on social media as well. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening to Phasma and Jarens. Please get in touch at Phasma22 on social media. If you love anything I do, please subscribe to the Phasma and Jarens YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Subscribe to Phasma and Jarens and stay tuned for more podcasts. See ya!